old man Saf.
Hey everyone, this is Neela.
Hey yo, it's your boy Funke, the coolest teen rapper online.
What's up? It's me, Alfie. You're listening to The Cool Table with
You're
Adrian.
listening to the Cool
And
Table.
you're listening to The Cool Table.
You're listening to The Cool Table.
And I'm not sure if you know this, but right now, you're in the cut with my man, Adriel Smiley.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. We're here on The Cool Table in the cut with one of the kings of the city, Paul Chin. Now, this flavor I haven't seen since like 2018 when Cadence F put me on. Tell people who don't know about Cherry Garcia, why is it the most fire flavor?
Cherry Garcia is the most fire flavor because it is one of very few ice cream flavors that my wife hates.
Perfect.
So I never have to share it, which is all anyone can really aspire to in an ice cream. To make an ice cream so beloved by individuals and also so reviled by others that those who truly love it can love it to the maximum without ever having to share it. But I think also just in general, it's a great combination of things. You know, it's cherry with actual cherries in it, and fudge flakes. So you get a little bit of that texture from like the hardness of the flakes, and you get like the fruit for nutrition.
You know what I thought of? I think of this. So you also talked about mint chocolate as one of the flavors that you liked. Mm-hmm. Now I think that flavor is horrible. Anyone who likes that flavor probably worships the devil. But I think that Cherry Garcia is what people want with the mint chocolate flavor, because Cherry Garcia, you get the fruit and the chocolate and that little bit of mix. I feel like mint chocolate is trying to do that but not succeeding. So I kind of understand why people like Cherry Garcia.
So what are your thoughts on just like plain mint ice cream?
Oh hell no.
No? Okay,
hell
so
no.
So that's where the problem lies for you.
Mint tea, sign me up. Say less. Mint ice cream, nah.
See, that's where it's okay. So I understand. That's where the problem lies for you. And that is understandable to me. Partly because I think it was like a year ago or maybe 2 years ago, I have a friend who like has her own ice cream maker and makes her own ice creams out of everything.
Oh, real deal.
And she also hates mint ice cream, but because it was my wife's birthday or it was a celebration of something, and so she was like, "Oh, what do you want?" And Phoebe was like, "Oh yeah, I love mint ice cream." She's like, "Well, I don't know if I can do the chip, but I will make you a mint ice cream."
Was it better when she made it?
It was, and the reason why is because she used actual mint leaves, like to make the mint flavor for like the custard base. And as a person who just loves regular chemical mint chip ice cream,
It was too real for you?
It was super real, and I was like, "This is incredible."
Yo, that's
and
jokes.
this is why there's a reason they can't let regular people have this. They can't put this out into the mainstream because it's too great. It would be an unfair advantage.
Okay.
So I do advise you, if you ever have the opportunity,
noted, I will,
to try
a
mint ice cream with a real mint base.
I will. Okay. I'll keep that in mind because, again, when it comes to ice cream, I'm different. My favorite flavor is rum and raisin. So obviously I'm on a whole different flex.
Indian. Truly
For
West
sure,
Indian.
for sure. And when you told me about the mint being the better flavor, when I went to Jamaica last, I forgot the name of the spot now, but there's an ice cream spot in Jamaica that's known for being the top ice cream spot. And I didn't really try any new ice cream when I was there. I just went with the rum and raisin in particular. But I remember this like in my head distinctly that the whatever mint they had was strong. I thought Jamaicans were just being super strong with
Just
the
being
flavors.
extra.
Yeah, you know what Jamaicans do. So I thought it was one of those, but maybe it was real mint leaves that made it be like that. So I gotta definitely try that out. I saw that you said that you're having more fun or you're more excited about releasing music than you ever felt before. Talk about the time when you kind of realized within yourself that you stopped being excited.
I don't know that I've ever stopped being excited. There definitely been times when like the excitement has like faded a lot quicker or been, I think, rooted in things were less secure for me. But as I've been working on this project, I have definitely and very clearly been the most excited very noticeably been the most excited I've ever been about making music, which now makes everything in comparison look like, oh yeah, you were just excited like to be
doing it,
doing something, because you didn't really know what you were doing, so you were excited to be doing something. But now it's like, oh, I actually like I have the clearest vision I've ever had.
Okay.
I have the strongest music I've ever had, the like widest range of like influences, the most adventurous music I've ever had, or I've ever made, and now looking at what I've like, you know, tapped into with this and like have started to be able to access like regularly, not just kind of as a fluke. Yeah, I can see, oh, this is actually what I always wanted to do.
Sounds like you say you're hitting your stride. So to speak.
This is what I always wanted to do and how I always wanted to do it. And I have like finally, you know, gotten to a point where I've put in the years and the, you know, the hours of like trying to figure out how exactly you achieve that and what version of that actually will make sense for me personally, right? So that's where I am with that. And now I look back on everything else and it's like, oh yeah, like I have no regrets for any of that stuff.
Okay, perfect.
And that time, but it's like, oh yeah, that was cute.
yeah.
That was cute.
Looking back, it's not the same level as what you're doing now.
Yeah, that like looking back on it and, you know, at various points feeling like, oh yeah, I'm like really doing this now. Like I'm really about it. Yeah, check this out. I'm like onto something now.
So you felt like that at the time.
At the time I felt like that, and I think that's also just because like, you know, I like had a lower ceiling.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like relative to where I was, you know, this kind of space I operated in and occupied. I was like, oh yeah, like this really is the best that I can do. And like, I just love the feeling of achieving like the best that I can do. Knowing that better can be done, but I was like, yeah, this is the best I can do. And like now looking back on it, it was like the image that comes to mind is like, yeah, just me like and all my homies around, and we just like sitting in the living room and like with a head nod circle and just playing beats for each other. And it was like, well, that's all you were doing. You were just playing stuff for your friends, for your homies, for people who you already know connect with this stuff. But now I'm trying to like do stuff where I'm like, how do I connect with people I don't know? And how do I connect with people who I've connected with on other levels external to like my own work? How do I like, you know, bring the feeling of talking about like all-time favorites or legendary records or all these really cool things and obscure cuts? How do I bring that experience out of like the music that I made?
Okay.
Because I want people to talk about my art the way that I have always talked about.
You know what?
My favorite art.
Hearing you say that, I feel like you're getting close. Because when I hear your music, the first thing that comes to my mind, because I'm a music head like that, where I like, if I hear a sample, I don't want to know who else sampled it. I want to know exactly where the sample came from. And hearing your music, like that, I have a lot of those thoughts just listening to tracks. I always want to be like, what did he do before it became this? You know, how is it before it became this? So I feel like you're getting there with the sound, because definitely for anyone who's into music and hears your music, they'll have a million questions of, okay, how did he put this together? How did this happen? So I do feel like you're kind of moving towards that path. Do you feel like you
appreciate that? I appreciate that. Again, like that's exactly what I want. I literally was in like my local pizza shop yesterday talking to my boy Mikey, and we're just like talking about like how drastically different like the general attitudes around music have changed over the years as technological advances, you know, all cultural advances, like all these other things that I won't really get into right now, but how they've just changed the way like subsequent generations just sort of internalize the way that they think about music. And we've come a long way from like early like, you know, DJ days and like even sampling beatmaker days when people would be like digging around in dollar bins and you know, like there's so much music you don't know, but like how do you know what you're looking for? And one of the things people used to do is they actually used to like read liner notes. They used to read personnel lists.
Yeah, I remember that.
And they'd be like, okay, so I'm looking for this. I'm gonna cop this because I see here that so and so played bass on this track, and I know that so and so
no one does that anymore.
and I
though,
know
don't
that
think.
so and so lays down the like meanest bass lines, right? Because in this year, like he was working with all these people, right? And this was like a very exciting time, and yada yada yada. And that was the kind of degree of excitement of like intrigue people had for things. And that was also very normal amongst
super
amongst the music loving community. I would say that right now the self-described music loving community is larger than it's ever been.
Keyword self-described.
Self-described, right? Is larger than it's ever been. Like more people than ever have access to more music than has ever been made, and I think on some level that's a good thing. But it also just means that not everybody is coming into this with the same like sort of pedigree of like investment.
Yeah.
People aren't coming into it with the same level of investment.
The same time, because I'll say this, like J. Cole is someone I always use as an example for this. Everyone in the world is a J. Cole fan now. Like, J. Cole has become this huge artist. Where there's this huge group of artists who are J. Cole fans who are unaware of mixtapes prior to the first album, and even unaware of some of the influences when he's sampling other artists. And I don't think that like digging back is like a thing anymore. Like
No.
It's like, and it's like, what's funny is someone can be, like you said, a self-described music lover without having that in them. Because when someone says music lover to me, I'm assuming that's what they're talking about. They're looking through the crates. They're going back to see who played on this. But when they describe it, they're saying, yeah, I went to a concert once and I'm a music lover.
Yeah, like I subscribe to the most popular playlist on Spotify that's
it, yeah.
updates weekly and everything is cycled out. So I consume the most music, but I don't really have an investment or a commitment to much of it. And again, like those people have always existed. It's just that we all share the exact same very narrow spaces now.
For sure.
That said, I'm not entirely concerned with those people. They're
Yeah.
always going to be there. They're never going away. They're
Yeah.
probably only going to increase.
Facts.
So I'm now at a point in my like life and career where I'm like, I can't devote any more mental energy to trying to figure out and trying to crack the code and trying to unlock the secrets of that populace.
Yeah, it's not even.
I can't do it anymore because I spent so much time trying to do that, thinking I was doing it at certain points, and then only to realize no, you actually didn't at all. And again, comparing what I was doing then to like what I'm doing now, where I'm just sort of like I've just liberated myself from that. I was like, no, this is actually what I want to do, is to make the music I want to make and talk about it with people who want to talk about it. And to have these like hours long conversations with people who actually want to have hours long conversations about references and callbacks to things and older music and obscure music and
For sure.
like highly underrated or undiscovered music and all this other kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, like I came into my relationship with music for the majority of my life has always been academic, as somebody who like studied and like learned to play instruments formally and all of this other kind of stuff. And so that's just the way my brain works. I'm always interested in figuring out, making these connections, drawing the lines between different musical traditions, the world over, history over, all this other kind of stuff. And so, and I know those people exist.
Oh, for sure. No,
I cannot be the first person to. I cannot possibly be the first person to ever care about these things. I know for a fact it's not true. So yeah, like the challenge for me now is just trying to find those people. Put out music that is kind of like basically an advertisement for myself, being like, hey, like, as a producer, these are the things I care about.
Yeah.
But also, like, hey, it's safe to come out. It's safe to come out. It's safe to enjoy. It's safe to like.
There's
get
nothing
into
wrong with that.
conversation,
There's nothing wrong with
right?
that.
Yeah, just trying to find those people. Trying to like send up a signal flare. Be like, hey, everybody who cares about this kind of stuff, yo, come find me.
The crazy thing is like, I agree with you wholeheartedly on that point, because those are the type of people that I'm looking for. But the joke that I'm finding out, which is hilarious, is those people are in disguise a lot. There's some people who are like that you wouldn't think. You know, they may work with all these pop artists, and you think, oh, they don't know about this type of music. So it's like that signal I think that you're kind of trying to put out is even more important, because some of those people are hiding in plain sight, so to speak, in disguise. So
it's true.
Definitely super important.
There's a lot of EDM guys I know who came from like just making these gully rap beats.
What? Listen, the EDM guys and the metal guys, don't sleep on them. Don't sleep on them.
Yeah.
I'll talk about Full Spectrum a little bit.
Let's do it.
Now, the name of the album I liked incredibly already. Just
tell me about that. Why? What about that speaks to you?
Because for me, full spectrum is more than just saying, I'm going all the way with something. Full spectrum is like you're going all the way with something, but you can also see everything. The eyes wide open is how I looked at it in terms of, okay, full spectrum, I can see everything now. So tell me if that's kind of how you were thinking of it. Okay, perfect.
Nailed it.
Perfect.
That was exactly it. It's the first thing that I've made that really felt like I was painting with all the colors on my palette.
I like that one.
It was the first thing I made that was just sort of like access everything at your disposal.
Okay.
And like part of that is, yeah, like I have a lot of really great, really talented friends. Bring them on to be a part of this. Part of that was, yeah, I have like a million drum samples in my computer. Cool, whatever. Do stuff with that. And I think that has always been a part of like what I do, and you know that's kind of been an easy thing for me. But I think the newest part of it was really, hey, you have listened to thousands of hours of so many different types of music.
Yeah.
Right. You are from a time when there were like the thing that I think is like most inherent or natural to you, which I think is like hip hop, was still figuring itself out. And so I got to live through probably the most diverse and experimental period of like hip hop production. But also like in a place where pop music was undergoing a radical transformation to, you know, eventually ascend to the form that it takes now, which is like hip hop light. Yeah,
hip hop light. I like that.
And you also like, you know, grew up in a place that exposed you to a wider variety of musical traditions than, you know, a lot of small communities do, right? Like I grew up in the Cayman Islands to Jamaican parents, so reggae, dancehall, soca, calypso, these things were always present just like locally. Then you throw in the fact that I'm like studying classical traditions of like playing music on multiple instruments. Then you throw in the fact that for some reason the Cayman Islands has a very, very like tight connection and love affair with country music.
That is random as hell.
Which at the time I didn't even think anything of it because it was like, whatever, I just won't listen to this. But now I go back and it's like, wow, country's still a thing here, huh?
That's
it's
crazy.
Still
That's crazy.
Really popping off here, huh? And of course, like, you know, living under white normativity, you know, all the like MTV stuff, the like pop rock, everything is just everywhere, so you can't help but learn from it. Yeah, there's just all of these things that like I have experienced and learned from and loved my whole life.
Yeah.
And like there's all of this music that's far older than me and you know has far more even importance, like I think like personal and sort of like contextual importance to other people than it does to me. But as again like a student of music, I'm just sort of like, this is incredible how much this meant to so many people, or how this stuff got made at this time when this is how you made stuff, or whatever, right? So yeah, when the first single came out for Take It or Leave It, I also just like quickly threw up a Spotify playlist of like a lot of the music that kind of influenced what I was thinking about when, you know, I was like writing this music and producing this track. And I was just sort of, and I mean, I'm pretty sure nobody has noticed it because who's digging further down below the fold?
Algorithm's got to give it to
the algorithm's got to give it to you. But I was like, I want to document this somewhere. I want to document this somewhere. So I threw up this little playlist of like references, and there's like old stuff and there's like newer stuff. And
but that's needed. Like, and here's the thing going backwards. It's like when we were younger and you tried to look for a certain artist, there wasn't that. It wasn't given to us where it's just right there. You had to look for it. So
people would withhold
for sure. So it's
those
like
were your cheat codes.
I found out about someone like Curtis Mayfield in a huge way because D'Angelo is such a huge fan of Curtis Mayfield. So when he's covering 3, 4, 5 Curtis Mayfield songs, I'm like, okay, this dude must be serious. You know, I got to find out who he is, and then through that is where you can find a bunch of other stuff. But it's like now you have the opportunity where you know, if someone's wondering what's inspiring Paul, you could, you know, directly give it to them where you didn't have that before. So I think that's like a huge plus where you could put people on in a crazy way that you couldn't do that before.
Yeah, I'm personally just a fan of giving away all the cheat codes. Like, my personal ethos is I've learned so much from so many other people, and it seems completely unjust to me to declare myself some sort of like arbiter or like, you know, gatekeeper or withholder of like other people's spectacular art, which was meant to be shared, meant to be experienced. And certainly nobody was making this stuff thinking, you know what though, like I hope Paul Chin someday in the year 2020, you know, just makes sure so and so doesn't find out
and holds on to it,
right? Like,
nah,
who's ever thinking that? Yeah, like personally, I'm like, if your greatest strength, or if giving away like your secret sauce is going to like result in your detriment as an artist, maybe you weren't that good to begin with.
You weren't real in the first place.
Maybe you weren't that good to begin with.
Facts. No,
Maybe the sauce is as good as you recognize it to be, and maybe you're not that good.
No, it's facts. I truly believe that, because I like the Soulquarians. Everyone knows that they were really looking at like James Brown, Joni Mitchell, the Princes of the World, and all the music that they came out with in turn inspired a whole other generation. They were clear that they were spending hours and hours getting inspired before they would even make that music. So I think for anyone to be a gatekeeper is kind of ridiculous. This next question we ask everyone, you're going to need your phone for this one.
Okay.
And it's, what is your favorite app?
Ooh.
Favorite app that's not social media. So it can't be anything social media. No Facebook.
Oh, you know what?
Twitter.
I know what it is. It's Duolingo.
Oh, how did I know you were gonna say that?
It's Duolingo. I am on a. Let me check right now.
What level are you on?
I am on a 16-day. So I just started it a couple weeks ago. So I'm on a 16-day streak.
I'm
learning Japanese right now.
Jeez.
Because I was just like, yeah, let me give this a try, and I'm still not convinced. I have no. I mean, again, it's only been 16 days.
How confident do you feel compared to 16 days ago, at least?
I feel confident that I can complete these Duolingo exercises.
But real life application, not so much.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. So I put out a call on Twitter the other day, but no one's responded. But I was just like, yo, I need some long term Duolingo users to weigh in. Is it for real? Like, do you feel like you know the language?
I don't think it's for real. Ola, have you used Duolingo? Can you give us any insight?
I tried for a few weeks when I took a Spanish course in the fall.
Okay.
It was okay.
I think so. That's the thing. I'm like, it would have, based on what I'm experiencing with these exercises, I would have to be doing this for years.
For sure.
I would have to be doing this for years to feel even remotely confident that,
I feel like this is
I
a help.
understand a language enough to actually utilize it in any way. Right now, it's just like, cool. Well, I can
order food.
I don't even know about that.
Damn.
I'm building the connection. I'm building like the neural pathways between like seeing characters and recognizing the sounds they make. I'm
Okay.
learning a few words here and there, but I don't know that like I fully understand. Like, I don't even think I understand how the language works.
Oh wow.
Right? Like, I don't think I necessarily understand how the language, how like I don't know how to form a sentence. I don't know the grammatical rules around that.
16 days in.
Yeah, and I guess like this is kind of the challenge when you have like languages that are not Roman based. Like, you have languages that have like characters, and it really is just you just have to memorize the characters.
100%.
So I don't know, but I'm having a good time with it. I'm going to Japan in the summer, so
Let's hope you're ready.
we'll see what I get out of this. We'll see what I get out of this.
Do you believe that people can learn another language from watching TV? There's this story
I know
that said that Kobe learned Spanish for his wife by watching a lot of Spanish TV.
Well,
I don't even know if I fully believe that.
I believe it, and here's why. I think specifically for Kobe, because like he grew up in Italy, so like he speaks fluent Italian, so, and they're very similar Romance languages. So I believe that he could learn Spanish, but I don't know how much TV he would have to watch, but I think that he would have enough of like
The basics.
a baseline. Because like I know people who like French was their first language.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to back up a little bit. So I lived in Costa Rica for 2 years and studied like Spanish in school for like 6 years before that, and like continued to study it when I lived there. And when I lived there, I met people who were like francophones first, and like, you know, had, you know, a little bit of English, had no Spanish, and within like the span of like 4 months, they knew more and were more fluent in Spanish than I was.
That's crazy.
After 6 years. So I think that like having like a background in similar languages really is like a great acceleration ramp for things like that.
True. I guess I can only speak English, and I could barely do that. So I can't even relate to people who have the more than one language.
Yeah, more than one language. It's really impressive. Also, there's the factor of like, basically, I think if you're like over 8 years old or like 10 years old or something like that, it's just like very, very difficult to like start learning a new language.
True. So younger is better.
Yeah.
Makes sense. This is going to be the last one before we get out of here. Now, every week on the show, we do this thing called #WednesdayWisdom. We go through Twitter, Instagram, find some motivational quotes that people have. Now, do you have anything that you try and keep with you during the week that you just remind yourself of that kind of keeps you going?
Yeah, I think like some version of it's like everything is vanity. Some version of that.
Okay.
I think ultimately, you know, essentially the thing I want to like keep sight of is like, you know what, the universe was here long before you and will be here long after you.
Big factual.
So like, don't really get pressed on yourself because there's a lot going on. And I think that varies. I think that like the degree of intensity around that kind of varies from, you know, week to week, even day to day. So some, you know, for the most part, everything is just kind of like, yeah, it is not that serious. And then sometimes it's just like, well, you know what? Everyone dies. So
let's not forget.
You know what? Everyone and everything dies. So, you know, like, can't take it with you. Like, don't get caught up in it.
Super fact. I want to thank you for joining us here at the Cool Table. That was one of my favorite Wednesday wisdoms, to be honest with you.
Was that it?
Yeah, that was
real
it.
Short, man.
Yeah, I know. We could talk for much longer, but yeah, we got to get out of here. But again, thank you for coming. You can find us
Thank you for having me.
all episodes at adrielsmiley.com. The Cool Table is every Wednesday at 11. CJRU 12:80 a.m. in Toronto. Know yourself.